And here's our crypto update with Catherine Murray.
We are seeing cryptocurrencies trade slightly lower today, down by about 1 to 2%. But importantly, we've seen trading somewhat subdued. Bitcoin spot is trading below the 30-day moving average. But importantly as well, we have seen Bitcoin consolidate around that $30,000 mark. So again, we've seen a huge uptick in the price of Bitcoin and has found some stability at these current levels. Of course, that's always important. We always look at the evolution and endorsement of the cryptocurrency and digital asset space. And in fact, we had new news on that this week. Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, did have an interview on Fox. And the takeaway from investors within the space is that it was positive. Specifically, he talked about two key aspects of Bitcoin. One, recognizing that the coin represents a digital form of gold. And also he pointed out that the international asset is acting as a hedge against inflation, which of course is one of the key reasons why investors have also been interested in the currency. It is a departure from what we've seen in the past. Back in 2017, Larry Fink did discuss that the demand for a Bitcoin just shows you how much demand there was for money laundering around the world. 2021, he was a little bit warmer towards the currency and the asset class, saying that they are still uninvested, but watching it closely. Away from that, in terms of investors and companies wanting to grow their business, it dovetails into the regulation environment as well, a regulatory environment. The Bakkt CEO, who's speaking at a Piper Sandler FinTech conference, noted that as they look to grow their business, they're looking towards parts of Europe, the UK, and also Hong Kong for their expansion plans. And the key reason why they're doing this is because they feel that the regulatory environment there is moving faster, more swiftly, and has more clarity than the United States. They're still very much invested in the United States. But again, one of the key areas of focus for companies expanding is to make sure that the regulatory framework is strong enough and understandable enough so that not only can they grow their business, but they can also get partnerships, which would be the traditional companies that you would think about listed on New York Stock Exchange or what have you. U.S. companies that don't feel there's enough clarity are kind of holding back here a little bit about their move into the digital currencies. Away from that, interesting development here, I think. Jinan, which is the capital of Eastern China's Shandong province, is now accepting CBDCs for public bus fare. CBDC, of course, is the central bank's digital currency. So they're using that or able to use it to pay for their bus fare. An interesting development there in terms of the use case. The development, of course, continues. Just a couple of interesting headlines here. MasterCard is testing tokenization bank deposits or tokenized bank deposits for use by banks in financial institutions. It's a mouthful there, but basically what it means is that MasterCard is looking to decrease the friction that occurs in cross-border transactions. And of course, that's also one of the key reasons for digital assets, faster, swifter, and less expensive in terms of doing cross-border transactions. Also, FTX, the current CEO who's been involved with the restructuring of the failed exchange, is actually reaching out to some institutional investors and institutional parties to see if they're interested in this planned reboot of FTX, the big failed exchange, looking to reboot it and looking to look for parties that might be interested in participating. One thing that investors should also be very aware of as we look at the price of Bitcoin right now is what's called halving. You may have heard about this in the media as of late, but basically it's something that happens every 4 years. It happened in 2016, 2012, 2016, 2020, and 2024 is the next look for halving. And what this means is that basically Bitcoin miners, the reward for mining more gets halved. And this goes up to the amount of 21 million, eventually 21 million Bitcoins will be mined. But the reward for each Bitcoin mined is, as I said, halved. So it tends to have a significant increase in the price or significantly impact the price of Bitcoin. Going back, if you look at it, in May 2020, Bitcoin was at 9,400. It halved and it went up to 54,000. So the reason why this is getting picked up a little bit more in the media is because obviously 2024 isn't too far away. And there might be a little bit of front running in terms of the price performance, and hence we're at 30,000 right now. Lastly, I would just point out that the U.S. presidential candidate, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he commented that if elected, he will make sure that Americans' right to hold and use Bitcoin will never be infringed. Julie, I will leave it there. Back to you.
Thanks for that, Catherine.